How's it going, YouTube? Welcome to the Cosmic Ray channel. I am your host, Cosmic Ray. If you're new to my channel, just want to say much love to you for the fact that you're able to click on this, and hopefully you'll be able to resonate with the content that I'm providing to you. I do like to keep things somewhat dark, not necessarily mysterious, if you will. It's because it's the message that comes across, more than what you need to see, more than bells and whistles. And that's okay if you do like bells and whistles. Sometimes you may need that to pay attention, and be able to see things in life to alert you of what's going on. And that's okay. It's just as if you need to, you can always look at any of my previous videos. I do have stuff that has a little bit more light on the situation, if you will, no pun intended. Um, However, like I said, it's just the message that comes across that's more important. I do like to do divination work. I do many other things. It doesn't really matter like what I am or who I am. It is the message, and it's more my actions of what's going on. Divinations such as this, it's not something where, I don't want to say it's not for the faint of heart and make it all like, ooh, it's got to be, crazy or spooky or anything, this nature. This is something where I in tune with my higher self. I utilize my higher self for divination work, as well as talking to spirit, as well as talking to other entities, vibrational outline people, inner outer dimensional outline people, if you will. Sometimes I like to get in touch with some people being called extraterrestrial, if you will. Um, yeah. Also, too, I also like to talk and speak, if you will, in different ways with my divine ancestral guides, my spirit guides, my spirit animals, my angels, archangels, if you will, of guides. And I like to kind of give credit where credit's due. So before I start off with everything, just want to say thank you, thank you, thank you, and light and love. I do feel blessed at this present time, and I'm so happy for this moment of my life to be able to share this experience, with the collective, with my, fellow cosmic surfers of life, ones who are struggling in life, who are able to realize what's going on. And this isn't some self-help group or anything of that. This is just a conscious awareness of individuals who are realizing, what this life, or this particular reality, if you will, is about. And we do go through struggles of life, and we do go through, and we are cosmic beings, in a sense. So I like to use this metaphor of saying how, as we are like cosmic surfers, even karmic surfers, if you will, and even though we're flying out there in the cosmos, start picking information down, pulling information down, channeling information, if you will. There are times when, if you think of like in the 3D matrix of a surfer, you don't see a surfers on a wave that's like this, right? You don't see anyone doing this. Everything's like this. Everything's a nice flowing type of motion. You see waves that come crash. It's us to be able to take on those obstacles, those high waves that look relatively dangerous. We always say we're like that small fish out there in the sea. We don't know much of our sea or oceans that we've been able to explore. So the fact that we're out there in the cosmos, in this metaphor, we're trying to do our part, in spirituality, or just build oneness, to be able to understand this, what we're in right now. So this is not something an easy task. And of course, when I give you that metaphor of this being like this, like stagnant, or like a wave that's just like this, that's not a wave. How would your life be if it was just like this, or if it was just perfect all the time? Now, don't get me wrong. In those times when everything is just so hard, and even though we know sometimes, in a sense, kind of like a game, but not necessarily, that we still struggle with things. We still struggle with this life or reality. We still have things that kind of help, push us down, and certain things are like guided to push us down. So we can start realizing these tests to pick ourselves back up, to be able to understand that of who we are. Sometimes we have to get ran over, not hopefully physically, but metaphorically, to be able to realize, our good nature, or to be able to realize, to kind of, know that we are beautiful inside, that no matter what, whoever drags us up in the mud, that we're going to be like that lotus flower that just shines and sprouts up to shine so beautifully in that mud. We are all beautiful inside. And so let's all find that within us. Let's find that seed that's been planted inside us. Let it grow into a big, beautiful tree. Let us not feel those, limitations, of life. And don't let anyone try to hold you down. Just grow beautifully inside, and then sprout so big. Okay. So, it's just one of those things where, life. I would love, yeah, so many moments to say it. My life could be so easy to be able to have everything I want. You know, to be able to have certain things that, like, we get fooled by, certain kind of things of relative and absolute happiness, or things are like the material world, so it's like, relative happiness. So like, say if it's just like a car, not saying like, a car that works, but say a car that, you don't need this type of car, but maybe you want it, you say if you already had fortunate enough to have a house or a place to call a home, but you want a big house or a bigger house. And it's okay to kind of like those things because, of course, it's just natural, right? But sometimes we kind of forget or appreciate the things that we already do currently have, right? To be grateful for things we had, not the ones that we don't have, right? So when this kind of feeling comes to relative happiness, sometimes it's relative happiness will makes us, it's like a temporary type of happiness, temporary state of happiness, and this absolute happiness is that joy inside, the things that you may forget what made you happy to begin with, because you already went past that because you think you're so above certain things, or you start thinking about other stuff of life, maybe the jobs that you did have before that you didn't care about, and now you have different kind of jobs, or like things, a situation of life that like, kind of puts you down and you're not like really caring, and then you have a situation in another life or something that happens that kind of reminds you, like, oh wow, or like people say like, you never know what it's like to love until you lose it, kind of thing. Some people have those concepts, or those understandings, and that happens, to some people, and or things are like been taken away, and then you realize, oh crap, you know you either want that back, but that's also another state of mind instead of reference. So just, sorry, getting little nudges here. I just wanted to say to those of you out there who are going through it, it's okay. It's okay sometimes to want certain things. Just don't forget, okay, who you are, why you came down here. Don't forget about the true happiness, the absolute happiness, that's unshakable happiness, that you can receive from your heart, from the light, from the fire that's burning inside you. I always like to say, be confident like the sun. Be confident like the sun, always shining so bright. We have certain tools, like in this case, in the sense for me, divination, in order to help me to help the collective to understand there's other things of life. It doesn't have to be taken so negatively. You don't have to be here as trying to summon demons or doing some like things. Not saying that you can't or anything. I'm just saying like this is one of those things of, I'm finding love out of this, happiness out of this. This is something I'm able to help. Hopefully you may potentially realize this as well. There's other ways. Now, of course, I can't have questions and answers, unless it's like a yes or no, or like how I say, speaking my truths at times. I always had the candlelight divinations when I used to talk to my deceased loved ones, which is okay, but I'm sure they'll only go so far of, of my, fellow, cosmic surfers, if you will. I don't want to sit here and just start like just talking all the time. I would like to, yeah, or at least talking to my deceased, which I love to be able to get those guidance and information from. But sometimes I like to be able to help you as well. So sometimes my videos, I do have different, like titles, and I put them in certain categories like candle love, candle magic, and I know in a sense it's like a little different sometimes here and there. But it's just more of like the love, that I'm receiving, to be able to channel that back to you, to be able to realize, hey, there are other things that's going on that's besides us. We're so little in this universe, so little, and this to be able to help, and to even say to you while I'm talking, how I say, speaking my truth. And of course, you don't have to listen to anything I'm telling you. You don't have to believe this. But I will tell you, I'm not really good with technology when it comes to making crazy stuff. So, even if I would be able to know how to do stuff with candles, and be able to make, like make it look more like a creepier video or something, I would. But I don't. I like to be organic. Let this kind of just shine the light. Let this speak for me, in a sense, to show you my truths, my inner truths, my higher self truths, that had these type of guidance. these candles won't even flicker. Like I'm further away than you can tell them from these candles. So there's a like a good like a foot and a half gap, but you can't really tell. So like I'm not moving anything. There's no AC here. There's nothing going on. No windows. No nothing. um, I just want to say, with much love, with much love from myself to you, for those of you who are watching this, just shine so bright inside. I would want the collective to know, regardless what happens in your life, that everyone, there's not a person you look at that's not struggling. Even those ones that you may find that like you usually, when you forget about spirituality, you kind of look at it and you're like, oh, I want their life. Not everyone's always joyous. You may realize that you may be the happiest person around, and even you are like that beacon of hope for others. And when they see you go down, not saying it's not okay to kind of like, have those feelings, and once in a while being like, not saying like a wreck, but it's okay sometimes to feel that way. But sometimes people look at you as that beacon of hope. Let me give you like a little perspective of things. Now I can go deep and stuff, but I'm just gonna give you something really light. There's someone that like that I met that does the same job as myself, but they're from a different state, and they're talking about how they've been doing this job for X amount of years. And normally some people are like, really? Why would you want to do this job for this X amount of years? And blah blah blah. You have all these judgments of like, oh, I wouldn't be here after this X amount of years, or what's this, or this is not a career, this is just a job. But when they say that, they're true from themselves. They're not saying it just to, there's no ill will or ill gains for ill-gotten gains from them from saying that. You know, they're just saying it from their heart when they're like, oh, I've been doing this job for whatever 10, 15 years, and no, I love it. And you're like, huh, it's a random person, random moment of my life, random time, or I wasn't expecting to meet this type of individual. It was like a random like customer that you met and you start random chit-chatting, and their true joy inside. Now, some may feel like, oh, well, you know what, that's great, but I would rather have these other things in life. Hey, and that's cool too. I'm not here to judge you. I understand. I've been there. Like, and there's times where, I feel like I want those things, like that relative happiness. That happiness is for like a quick second. I love children, of course, they're like the most pure, right? They haven't been tainted with much stuff. That's why usually when they're kids, they usually say the most random things and random stuff of like different lies, and you're like, what? You're crazy. Like, oh, it's just a kid being a kid. It's because they're being true. Kids will say some things, and you're like, wow, I can't believe you sound really smart. Randomly you said something profound, giving me advice. And sometimes, with kids, they don't have that negative, outlook on life. They start pure, like I was saying. And with kids, sometimes they do have like that relative happiness. Like, oh, buy me this, buy me that, buy me this, because they don't really even know about physical things yet. They're like, oh, okay, cool, okay, and start learning about this stuff. And if you're a parent that does that, that's cool too. I've done that. I spoil my kids, sometimes. So, but what I'm trying to say is that you get this relative happiness, but then you see your kid play with the toy, and they're happy maybe for like a day, 2 days. And don't get me wrong, your kid could still be playing with the same toy, and it's been many years. My kids, do that too. But what I am trying to say is there are those times where like they get truly happy for a second, right? And it lasts for like a couple hours, and then it fades away. And that's the relative happiness. Absolute happiness is that joy you have with your kids always when they're there. They always put that smile on your face, or whoever it is in your life. It doesn't have to be kids, okay? It could be whoever is the one that makes you happy. And of course, you always have to find that happiness within yourself. Try not to have that feelings that someone has to make you happy or nothing like that. But you know what I'm trying to say, right? Like it's just one of those things. Like when you're with someone, you just get that extra joy. Just that extra complete of wholeness, if I guess, if you will. Not that you can't be whole by yourself, of course. I'm learning and feeling that way, myself now. In life, I always felt like when I was a kid or when I was growing up, I always needed someone else there to like to complete me, and I start to realize that, I just, kind of need to be alone or need to be myself, to truly enjoy who I am. and maybe at certain points in my life, I didn't realize that growing up, having like, the girlfriend, boyfriend kind of, feelings, like being a little kid in like what, junior high or whatever in high school, and like, oh no, they're like my soulmate, or they're like the one I'm gonna be with forever. And it's like 2 weeks later, you're like, no. It's just one of those things in life where you just grow. So we continue to grow, continue to show, continue to just be above and beyond. So there's that relative happiness, there's that absolute happiness. Relative happiness will definitely make us happy, temporarily, you know. But what, I always joke around saying, you ever see someone on a jet ski with a sad face? Not really, right? They're usually pretty happy. But I will say this though, what would I rather have? A jet ski or not my kids, or jet ski or not, something else with joyous that makes me feel good inside. It doesn't have to be a person, it could be something I like to do or something else, it doesn't have to be anything like that. I'm just giving you a reference, obviously as an example. And as you can tell, I'll probably use my kids as like my own happiness as well as doing this, making happiness for myself, making happiness for the individuals and cosmic surfers that are looking at this. So if you are new to my channel, like I said, thank you. And I do appreciate you and value you, as someone, to taking the time to be able to, see this. And I hope this resonates, with you, and as always, if it does, of course, please subscribe. Let me know that, that love, is reflected back. Hit that notification bell so you don't miss anything that I am providing to you. Now, I do try to do this, out of love. I do this out of the pure oneness, if you will. If this was something like, I'm a true believer of karma and karmic, as you always hear me talk about karmic ways and whatnot, and of course cosmic ways of all. It's one of those, I truly feel if I was doing a dishonest, if I was just some guy just wanted to hear myself talk, I would do so many other things. but this, yeah, this is something that I wanted to share with the collective, because I feel I wanted to not just show others, I just want to be able to help inspire others to know that they are more than just this. Whatever you're going through in life, you, like I said before, you may be going through way more than I ever have, and I may be going through stuff that you may never have, and we may be going through stuff that we're filling the holes and the gaps, but that's okay, because for be able to have all of us to share these experiences of life out of love, out of just pureness, not just trying to like one up each other. This is just something that I just wanted to share with the collective. And if I was doing this out of for ill-gotten gains, trust me, my life would already be over, and I would not be able to, do this anymore. My spirit guides would not be here, and I always like to even do videos and sometimes they're not, around, and then that's okay too, because they know that I know I have what it takes inside to help do what I need to do, in this, to speak, if you will. But as I always say, I love, love, love when they are around. I always get joy as well when I know they're here, because this is something that I knew ever since I was a kid they were around. I didn't know this because people kept telling me that, oh, you're just a kid, you're making it up, you're seeing things, and you're just having an imagination and whatnot. And but then when that one time when that spiritual awakening came in, and I had some extra guidance, if you will, from some beautiful soul that was able to just take something out of me and realized, hey, this has been blocking him this whole time, let's fix it. Now I can actually shine. So I hope you guys shine too. Shine bright, brighter than me, brighter than the sun. Be that beacon of hope for yourself, for the people that are around, for your loved ones. And it's okay. And it's okay to not always shine, always every second to being bright, because the sun also too rests wherever you are. Unless you're like in Alaska and it's doing that thing. What is it, for like a couple weeks or whatever. Shout out to Alaska, by the way. Anyways, Cosmic Surfers, out of love, peace, and respect, I wish you all safe journeys always, riding those cosmic waves of life. Cosmic Surfers, love to you and anything that you do. Shine bright, please. Thank you.